Give a round of applause for Chris Dillon, please.
Think about your favorite restaurant. Think about every single part of it, why you go there, the last time, why it makes up your favorite restaurant experience. And then I want you to think about the place in the world that you've had the best food you've ever had. As you can tell, I'm quite a connoisseur on food. I didn't appreciate the laughter there, but that's fine. Now, show of hands, who thought of the same place for both of those? 1, 2, 3, 4. The vast majority of the rest of the room, your favourite restaurant isn't the place that you have the best food. But on paper, what restaurants should be doing is delivering food. That's what restaurants are there for. What we value more than what is necessarily on paper is the experience. And I want to talk through why the customer experience makes a difference. The first thing that I need to tell you, the more conversations you have, the more conversions you are going to get, both in your own business and when you're implementing it across the clients. We thrive on speaking to human beings. We thrive on the conversations that you're having, and you're going to see this as a repeated theme. The more conversations you can have with people, the more conversions you get. I sometimes piss off some marketers when I say the following sentence. Leads are incredibly important. But if your leads have a really bad experience, it's the equivalent of going into that restaurant, having amazing food, but your feet are sticking to the floor and the waitress told you to piss off when you wanted the menu faster. The experience is what matters. And the better the conversation you can have, the better it is. So who am I speaking to you about this? Well, Travis did a great job of doing the introduction. I should just have Harry Potter as a window up here. But first and foremost, I am a father and a husband to those 2 amazing children. The youngest one looks miserable as hell there, but she's just feral and she was annoyed we didn't let her run up the stairs at that point. And I need to juggle my own time. Anybody that has kids at this age will know that I would probably have hair if it wasn't for dealing with all of that. I need to be able to juggle my own time and I need to automate processes in the business. And I'm here to talk specifically about WhatsApp today. But who was here for Lisa's talk just beforehand? The importance of automating through the process, you'll see as you go. The key is making that automation personal so that people want to have more conversations with you. As Travis said, last year I released my book, No One Gives a Shit About Your Business, because I want you to think about your customer's experience going through a process as if they don't care about you. Because if you plan it as if somebody doesn't care about you, what you put in place for them makes it a lot easier. Because remember, we all care about our business a hell of a lot more than anybody else does. And spoiler alert, if somebody else cares more about your business than you do, you're in trouble. And that's led me to speak around the UK, specifically on WhatsApp. And when I met the high-level team in June this year, we spoke about WhatsApp and how much stuff you can do within that, which is what I'm going to cover today. The conversation's evolved. There is now a course on High-Level University for agencies, running you through every single part that WhatsApp can do. There's a masterclass going live at the start of November with Haplin, specifically on WhatsApp. Now, I'm going to do something most speakers won't do today. I want you all to get your phones out, and I want you to turn them off of silent, because we're going to have some fun. So anybody with your phone, who has your phone with you? That's a trick question. Everybody has. Get your phones out, turn them off of silent. I want to hear your phones pinging during this conversation, because I want to prove a few points. And while you all have your phone in your hands, scan that. You're going to see as I go through, there are a few things that I will point out that I'm forcing you all to do psychologically. That will take you to a form, fill it out, and as long as you have WhatsApp on your phone, it will send you a WhatsApp while we are talking. I want this presentation to be really engaging and I want it to be interactive because I want you to see and feel how powerful WhatsApp can be, as well as me just telling you all about it. So I'll give you a couple of seconds to go through that. And then I'm going to take you to this lovely train. Now, is anybody from the UK in here? Perfect. We can take over. We've done that before. Two different types of laughter there. I noticed that. A lot of you outside of the UK might not know this story. This is an amazing marketer called Roy Sutherland talks about this. This is the Eurostar. It is a train that goes straight from London to Paris and then it continues out into the world. while I'm doing that, my phone is going off and I'm hearing everybody else. So I get to see who's going to be really offensive straight away. Right. Barton said, what a beauty. That's the correct answer. Kyle, who's Kyle? You said, oh my God, that scared me. Fuck you, Kyle. Who said your hair is messy? Lucas. Well, we've met each other. Thank you for that. It's shiny, Lucas. It's not messy. I'm getting all of your responses. So I always get a judge of the crowds that I'm in front of when I see how much you passively aggressively insult me as we're going through. Back to the Eurostar. In around about 2007, the mid-2000s, the Eurostar had a problem. It took about 4 hours to get from London to Paris, and the emergence of low-cost airlines like EasyJet, Ryanair started really competing, and people started not opting to go on the Eurostar. So they run trains from London to Paris and into mainland Europe, and they're struggling to compete. Journey time, as I said, just under 4 hours, a lot slower than a flight would be, which is typically about 2 hours. So what was the solution? Well, they said, we're going to invest £6.1 billion, about $8 billion, to replace all of the track and speed up the journey, because obviously the problem is the journey time. Rory Sutherland suggested other things. His theory was, you could have taken 10% of that £6.1 billion and installed amazing Wi-Fi on all of the trains, and people wouldn't have had dead time and they would have opted to have been on the train. Or you could have taken 1 billion of it, saved 5 billion, and paid the world's top supermodels to walk up and down the train handing out free champagne, and people would have asked for the train to be slowed down. It's all about the actual experience, and I don't think we talk enough about what that experience looks like. I think we gloss over it because we know our businesses. And I truly believe that your clients, you don't have a retention problem, you have a communication problem. Most of us know that if you communicate really well with somebody, you can usually recover situations to do with churn. It's usually down to communication, because good communication is the difference between sitting at a restaurant and turning around to them and the waiter saying, right, it's going to be a 30-minute wait on food for you guys, just to let you know, I'll try and bring it out as quickly as possible. And when it comes out in 25 minutes, you go, service was brilliant, because your expectations were set. But if you sit down at a restaurant and after 25 minutes, nothing's come out, you're looking at your watch and going, where's my food? It's a communication issue. The Eurostar example is a fantastic example of that. And Rory Sutherland is a bit of a genius when it comes to it. Going to make sure my clicker's working. Right. Why WhatsApp? Who is native to the US in the room? Good. I've done a few stats specifically for you guys. First stat is around the globe, there are 3 billion plus users of WhatsApp globally. That is a big number. In the US, there are a little bit over 100 million. Last time I checked, it's about 102 million active monthly users on WhatsApp. And whilst there are people in here who will know other people don't use WhatsApp, it is growing, and it is growing fast. The other stat that blows my mind a little bit is the average WhatsApp user will spend 61 minutes per day on WhatsApp, which if you compare it to Facebook and Instagram, doesn't seem like a lot. But if you remember, most of your time on most of the other platforms is doom scrolling. This is 61 minutes communicating with other human beings a day. That's where their attention is. And it's a reminder that for me, human beings do three things. They do what they've always done, they do what feels familiar to them, or they do what they think everybody else is doing. One of the reasons I pointed out who was taking the piss out of my hair in that little chat was because I wanted everybody in the room to show that everybody else is pressing the buttons that I've just sent you. And I noticed on my phone that my phone went a lot more crazy after I said that out loud, because all of you went, oh, there are buttons I'm going to go through and I'm going to do it. I'm calling out what I'm doing in this presentation. I can make it incredibly easy all the way through. Where's Lucas? Right. Lucas and I met in the pool on Sunday, spent 7 hours in the pool because I live in Ireland. It is cold there. I got to have a little bit of a tan. This is the back of my phone. At every possible opportunity I have, I can collect data, put people into a sequence, WhatsApp them immediately. And me and Lucas were going back and he was picking a card in one of the demos that I have. Lucas, how many times did you reply to me? I'm putting you on the spot, but how many times do you think you replied to me in a pool?
Every single message out the button, I click on it.
It was probably, if I went back, 7 or 8 different replies. My intention is to get you to engage. I want that conversation to go through. Because there are 100 billion messages sent every single day on this platform. With a B. 7 billion of those are with your voice. They are voice messages. For those of you that are taking photos, can I ask 2 favors? Number 1, send the photo back to me so my wife knows that I've come to Texas for a 5-day holiday for a genuine reason. And number 2...
Full photo.
No, not the pool photo. I didn't send the pool photo. I had a very boring day on Sunday, just crying and watching films, not having margaritas by the pool. The other thing, if you want a copy of these slides, just reply to the WhatsApp chat I've got with the word slides. It will send you the full PDF presentation straight away. Slides. Or the word slide. Slides or slide. Send that to me. I'll send the PDF straight to your phone. There is also a hidden button in there that I will let the first person in the room try and find. And I know when one of you will have pressed it because I'll hear somebody laugh. Slides, please. Slides, slides, slides. Slides, slides. Just to show you. Somebody's laughing. Perfect. You pressed the secret button, didn't you? Now I get to see who's pressing the secret button. That, by the way, is one of my favorite automations I have set up. Where's your pool photo? Perf. That's it. It's the CCTV. So for those of you going through, there is a secret button in there that I want you to press, and I'm getting pockets of laughter. For those of you that have already gone through it, I can legitimately stand in front of a crowd and call people a pervert. If you haven't had the message, that doesn't make any sense. But ultimately, my point is, conversations lead to conversions. My arse is vibrating a lot right now. I'm going to put my phone over there. Who's the pervert? It's not the phone that's vibrating, to be honest. That's on silent. I'm counting the days until I get kicked out of America. I'm looking forward to it. Why WhatsApp? I'm going to do a few stats because I want you to see the difference. The average email open rate is about 26.8%. Now, that is an average across different niches. It's across different industries, but it's about 26%. The SMS open rate is really good. It's roughly on par with what the WhatsApp open rate is. The real difference that you're going to have here is when you start looking at the engagement rates. Email click-through rates will average between 2 and 3%. SMS interactions around about 18%. WhatsApp's 55%. Globally, every WhatsApp message that is sent, 80% of every WhatsApp message that is sent is replied to within 10 minutes, globally. Now, I'm fully aware that that also includes back and forths when you're having a conversation with your family and friends, so those stats are going to skew slightly. This is based on the marketing template messages we're sending out. Just show of hands around the room who filled out the QR code at the start and got WhatsApp message. Perfect. Keep your hands up if you replied or pressed any of the buttons. Somehow more of you put your hand up there. My point is, I've got every single one of you to reply by making it really easy. I didn't tell you right at the start to press the buttons to take the piss out of me. Now, I pointed it out, but that was because most of you were pressing the buttons on your own behalf. You pressed the super secret sexy photo button on your own accord. I want to be where people's attention is. And if they're spending 61 minutes every single day in this app, I want to be there. I want to be where it is becoming easy to interact with them. Because if you can be where their attention is, you're going to make sales. So how does it actually work? Well, there are 3 tiers to WhatsApp in my mind. There is personal WhatsApp, WhatsApp for business, and you've got WhatsApp's API. Within high level, we're talking specifically about the API side. Now, there are some restrictions on this, and there are some massive benefits, and I'm going to run through the differences. For WhatsApp for Business, which is the free app you can have on your phone, and in some countries, you can do WhatsApp coexistence. Is that somebody's phone going off? That's so rude. It's a joke because I told you to put it on the loud. WhatsApp for Business, typically it's one phone and up to 4 computers can log into it. You need to have a separate device. There are non-official APIs that will allow you to go in and see messages. I'll talk about one of the restrictions and one of the difficulties with that in this presentation. When you're on your phone, typically it's 256 contacts, limited ability to mass broadcast messages, and you've got no API officially. I will talk about that as I go through. I know I'm not factually correct when I say that, but I see accounts being banned all the time and clients or prospects coming to me and saying, Chris, we've tried to do this. Our account's been banned. How can you help? We're about 10 minutes after you scan the QR code, so most of you that haven't requested the slides will be getting the slides automatically anyway. That's what that lovely ping is, and that's why I told you to turn on the phones. Again, one of the 3 things I say is doing this thing that you think everybody else is doing. What better way to do it than have everybody's phone ping 10 minutes into a presentation? I am showing off, by the way. That's just my personality. With WhatsApp, that was a perfectly timed ping, that one. WhatsApp's API allows us to have unlimited users. You're restricted to how many users you want to put on your high-level account. Every single person in my team is getting all the messages. Should we do something a little bit fun? Because it is currently 9:30 p.m. at night in England.
Good.
Feel free to tell me to fuck off in that chat, and I will send you back a photo. And all of my team are about to get all of their notifications while having their dinner. That is a genuine automation I have, so feel free to send me those words. It will send you back a photo. I'm being completely serious. The very first time I introduced that, I didn't tell my wife that that was an automation we had, and she went, "What have you just done on stage?" But that will genuinely send you a photo back. And if you misspell it and you put duck off, it'll also send you a photo.
I'm a spend you.
Yeah, by all means. It will genuinely send you a picture back. I love that you were a little bit hesitant and there were people over here going, "Can I really?" and just did it really fast. Yeah, for the sake, just blame them for the sake of it. And I'm looking at my phone just going absolutely crazy over there. This is not quite the Harry Potter script that a lot of you probably signed up for. The other thing that WhatsApp API can do is we can do broadcasts. And there are initial rate limits, which I will go through and I will talk about that during this. But you will start off, if you're a verified business, at 1,000 unique people a day. And the rate limits go from 1,000 to 10,000 to 100,000 to unlimited per day. I'll explain how to get through those as well. Active API integrations, AI and automated chatbots. You can have multiple call to actions. The buttons that you're seeing, we can actually facilitate through. This is something I get asked about all the time. How do you avoid getting banned on WhatsApp? First thing is use the proper API. If you try and cold message people on WhatsApp, it's a problem. When you send your very first message, there will be a warning on their phone that will say, "This is from a number that isn't saved in your phone. What do you want to do?" And it will give you the option to block. Some devices give you the option to block and report, and some give you block, report, continue. It doesn't matter which one it is. It will always present the user the option to block you first. Why do you think I have the message at the start of my sequences of you taking the piss out of whether my hair is good, whether I scared you? Because the second you reply to the message, that warning disappears entirely. All of this is done very deliberately. For some devices, the warning stays there. It just pushes it further up in the chat. And what's out of sight? The old adage is if you wanted to hide a dead body, you put it on page 2 of Google. Once it's out of sight, people won't ever get there. Cold messaging doesn't really work in this platform. However, getting engagement, getting replies, even negative options. So when I follow people up from events like this, there are buttons that say, "Thank you so much for coming and seeing me do the talk today. It was a pleasure having you here. I want to make sure that if I'm following you up, it's for a good reason." So below there are a few messages. One is to book a call with us. One is to ask us any questions. And one is frankly to say, "Fuck off, Chris, leave me alone, never speak to me again." And I'm not just saying that to be cheeky. One of the buttons actually says, "Fuck off, Chris." I want you qualified out. And here's the irony, is if I send 1,000 of those messages and 500 people say I'm not interested, because I've got 500 replies, Meta will upgrade me from 1,000 messages a day to 10,000 messages a day, because Meta wants your replies. Now, if I get blocked by around about 50 of those and they don't publish the numbers, I'll probably have my account suspended. If I elicit the negative option by putting it in a button, Meta will see it as a reply and will treat my account and upgrade it. And in the background, I'm using the reply to go back in, tag them as not interesting, D&D them, whatever I need to do. But that engagement is important. Because if you back them into a corner where their only option is to block you or think you're going to keep messaging, you're getting blocked. Make it engaging. Make it fun. Stand on a stage in front of people in a different country and tell them to tell you to fuck off. You can pick any of those. Qualifying people out and making it incredibly easy for them to do so. I want people out of my sequence as fast as I can. But I also want to tell them, if you are interested, here are what the next steps look like. Setting up WhatsApp business accounts in Meta properly at the start when you're getting this all set up. So not doing it on profiles that have been banned. There are a lot of things to look into on that side, and I don't really have a huge amount of time to talk about that full setup in this. But if you want to ask any questions, surprise, surprise, you can WhatsApp me. And setting expectations. Every single one of you, I said as you were filling out the form right at the start, the second you fill out the form, I'm going to send you a WhatsApp message. So all of you scan the QR code, all of you that did scan the QR code, we're fully expecting the WhatsApp to come, fully expecting to engage, and have been engaging and sending me messages during this talk. All of that has so far met your expectations. I've done a good job of that. And have consistent messaging. Don't just add people in and then 6 months later send them another random message. And I've kind of touched on how to move through the rate limits. How to get through the rate limits, just so that you're aware. If you're at 1,000, half of that limit, so 500, if you get half of that limit replying to you over a rolling 7-day period, they'll bump you up and you'll stay there unless you get flagged. If you're at 10,000, 5,000 people over 7 days reply to you, you'll get bumped up to 100,000, so on and so forth. Now, here is where I feel the real strength comes in. We've talked about engagement, we've talked about delivery, we've talked about open rates, but when you're comparing it to your standard SMS marketing, and don't get me wrong, you can make SMS sexy, especially when you buy a pool, as you've requested. Generally, messages are only text-based. Most rich media, I'm going to say, is quite difficult or quite expensive to send through SMS. Links typically get shown in the rawest forms, and I know there are exceptions here, but this isn't a sexy message to receive. It's very, very text-driven, and I'll talk about that in a second. Having actual call to actions in there that are buttons that are easy for you to press are very rare, and generally they don't get a huge amount of engaging. They are a one-way conversation for the most part. And I know that we can implement AI and come into this, so it's why I'm saying for the most part and a lot of it, there are strategies that you can use on SMS, and there are very useful and very powerful strategies to use on that as well. At no point here am I saying that these don't work. I'm just saying when you're comparing the two, one blows the other one out of the water. Because when you look at the kind of messages that you can send, that first one, I send out a weekly broadcast to our community with a video from me with updates that say, yes, I'm interested, but I'm not available for that. I won't attend this. I have my negative option. I want you qualified out. I still get the engagement. But if you press either of the top two buttons, yes, I'm interested, or I'm interested, but I can't get there, not only do you get a response, as you guys have seen, you get tagged in the system as interested in the event. You have your opportunity stages moved along. The engagement score is added onto it. I'm using your behavior within WhatsApp, which I've elicited by just having one click, to move your entire process through. My sales team will only focus on people after events that have expressed an interest that haven't yet done the thing I want them to do. And the other thing is booking meetings. Surprise, surprise, I make it really easy. Anybody at events that wants to book a meeting with me, you can send me the word meeting and it sends you a link. I can make it really straightforward and simple during this entire process for you to get the things I want you to get. So, by using the API, rich, engaging content, and I'm going to talk about the importance of video in a couple of seconds, button call to actions are a hell of a lot easier than even just saying in a text, reply with the letter Y and we'll get on to the next bit. None of you I had to explain press the buttons in the WhatsApp to get a super secret sexy photo. And I can do things while I'm up on stage. You can get a full customer journey plan of mine by just sending me the word plan. That's a bit of a freebie. You send me that, it will send you a full PDF copy. And I know that I can get that engagement and get you replying. And I'm going to sound a little bit arrogant when I say this. Of all the speakers that you're going to see at this incredible conference, by the way, you're going to reply to me during the talk more than any of them. Because I'm making it really easy for you to do so in a way that feels familiar. For the last 15 minutes, it's all you've been doing. And you know everybody else is doing it because all their phones are pinging while I'm doing it. I'm ticking all three of those boxes and I'm calling myself out for it. Continued conversations for free. So, context-wise, when you guys filled out that form, the first message I sent you cost me about 3 cents. Every other one has been completely free. With SMS, there are costs based on the SMSs that you're sending. This, as soon as they're in conversation with you, it's free. And all of those of you that have engaged, you are now in an open conversation window with me, and we can go back and forth. And I can put links into message buttons. I can make them look pretty. I can make them My meeting booking link is check availability. It's not the entire URL. I can make it look more engaging and more attractive to click. We've talked about the engagement rates and the reply rates. That's kind of the standard here. And the high-level course that is currently in high-level university at agency level, you can access that, and I've sent you a link, surprise, surprise, by sending me the word course. I realise that I've said surprise, surprise quite a few times, and I feel a little bit like Cilla Black, which will be a joke for the UK-based people in here. You'll appreciate that, and everybody else is going, what the hell is he talking about? If you send me the word course, it will give you a link directly to the high-level university learning section, and the course that I've done that covers every single area of high level is in there for you under their official platform. This is where I get to talk about voice. And I also realize that when I get the next slide up, I need to give you context, because it's a really weird slide to have with no context. And if anybody walks in now, they're going to go, what the Christ is he talking about? This is my favorite sentence in the world. I didn't tell you to punch them. And it's my favorite sentence because it has 7 words in it and 6 different meanings based on which word I put the emphasis on. Because the sentence, I didn't tell you to punch them, is different to I didn't tell you to punch them. 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 And I didn't tell you to punch them are all completely different sentences. But if I write that down, it doesn't matter which word I put the emphasis on, unless I'm doing something deliberate in my writing, like highlighting it here, you don't know what I mean. I have a 1 in 6 chance of you reading that sentence the way I wrote it if I put it in text-based form. And spoiler alert, there will be things in your marketing that people are reading in the way that you didn't intend. Show of hands, who has ever received a message from one of their friends and just gone, what the actual fuck is that? And then you've had a coffee and you've gone, you didn't mean that, I'm sorry. The laughter does the job of you putting your hands up. We've all done that. I guarantee you there is stuff that you have in your text-based marketing, whether that's SMS, whether it's email, whether it's landing page copy, that is being read by people not in the way that you intended for it to be read. And annoyingly, it doesn't matter how much you go through all of your marketing material to try and find it, you're going to read that sentence the way that you wrote it, and you won't be able to spot it. But if you're using your voice, and when an inquiry comes in, you can send them a video that says that, they get the meaning, they have the trust, they understand what you mean. And if I'm sending you a voice note with that sentence in it, number one, we have issues, and we need to talk about them separately, but you understand exactly what I mean. Because you need to make it hyper easy, as Lionel says, to do the thing that you want them to do. Chapter 4 of the book that I wrote is literally called Make It Easy. It should be the easiest thing in the world for somebody to go through your process. It should be the easiest thing in the world for them to give you money. I really dislike the argument between people that say shops should be cash only or shops should be card only. Well, it should be a mixture. Because if you're one or the other, you're making it difficult for some portion of your audience. It should be the easiest thing for people to generate conversations with you. It should be the easiest thing for people to go through your process. Because, spoiler alert, your leads are real human beings. And we sometimes get caught up in marketing by saying leads and forget that they're actual humans. Has anybody ever tried to call a lead and when they haven't picked up, you've gone, they must not be interested. Why did they fill out the form? Just show of hands. Spatterings around. If you're calling a lead and they don't pick up, yes, they might not be interested, but there is an equal chance they were doing a poo at the time. They're real human beings. They could be changing their baby. They could be looking after things. They might just not pick up unknown numbers. That doesn't mean that they're not interested. It just means that they are real human beings. So we need to make it hyper easy for them to go through the process. So I'm going to talk about the 3 main use cases that I have and share a few other use cases, but these are the 3 main areas people normally talk to me about. First one, inbound inquiries. This is where most people get the benefit out of WhatsApp because there is a direct financial return when you get this bit done really well. My current inbound inquiry process is a video of me with custom variables in there. So where it says, welcome to WhatsApp Automation, Chris, that's the same kind of custom variable that you'd pull into an email. Please watch this video above. If you've got any questions, let us know. There is very little text in there. I want the video to do the heavy lifting. It's very difficult to misread the words that I've put in there. And all the video is saying is, hi, Chris here. Thank you so much for making that inquiry. Just to let you know, this video, which is automated, is going to answer a few questions everybody normally has at this stage. And if by the end of it, you want to skip the stage where we try and call you when you're on the toilet and you want to book in with our team, there's a button below for you to press and go through it. Now, one of the things we always get asked is this, and this is the answer. And something we always get asked is this, and if you press the automation demo button below, you can go through the process to see it for yourself. And finally, if you have any questions at all, let us know. There is a button below that details absolutely everything that we do. I'm encouraging engagement. Our first message that goes off the back of Facebook ads gets engaged with almost all of the time. Again, you guys know the power of automation. This happens within seconds. I want to capture their attention at the point at which they're most interested. Setting clear expectations on what happens next. I've done that by saying, if you want to skip the step where our team call you, you can go ahead and book a time that actually suits you. I've reframed everything, but I've told you, we're calling you. This call is coming. Answering common objections, frequently asked questions. I'm very, very much a believer of most people in a sales process are 1 or 2 unanswered questions away from giving you money. The problem is you aren't necessarily presenting them the opportunity to ask that question. Again, I don't think there's a retention problem. I think there's a communication problem. And seeding fees. This is something that I was actually doing as an exercise over the last few days. I can happily turn around to everybody and say that clients will typically invest with me about £20,000, which is about $30,000-ish, every single year for me to come in and build everything. And I've got packages that start around about $100 and courses that are about 12 quid. For me to work out where you might fit, we typically have a conversation to see if you actually fit in that bracket. So I've answered the pricing question to everybody, but told you that there's a bracket and told you you might not fit in there. People will go through, and there are plenty of people that are really coy about prices or don't put it out there or don't do this. That might not be applicable to your business, but it's a very good place to put it if it is. And of course, qualifying in and qualifying out your ideal client. I want to call out who I want to get onto the next step. I want to make sure that they are the right fit for me. And quite frankly, I want to make sure that I'm not working with an arsehole, and I can do it by generating a conversation. You can send me the word plan on WhatsApp, as I said earlier, to get a full customer journey plan of what my actual journey looked like from inbound inquiry. That's about 8 things I've got you to reply to so far. Meeting appointments and webinar reminders. We do this heavily with a lot of clients. Who has a problem with people booking in meetings and not turning up? Or has been frustrated? The laughter again. Our no-show rate in 2024 for sales calls, specifically sales calls, where people knew that they were booking sales calls, was 1.48%. And it's all because of 2 things. One, I've set really good expectations on why somebody would be booking a meeting in the first place. And secondly, I have a reminder series that not only has the details of their appointment with custom variables coming in, but also has videos from me explaining what's going to happen the following day when you're on the call, so that I'm laying out expectations, seeding fees, getting you excited about what the possibilities are at the end of that call. That whole series is one of the most powerful things that we do. So I want that excitement series instead of it just being a generic reminder series. I want people coming to the call going, Chris, I've been watching videos of you. I feel like I know you already. Yeah, great. Visa or MasterCard. There is a bit of work in between there. I'm not saying that that's the standard. Setting expectations, teasing a pending offer. We'll very often say to people, look, on the sales call, there's absolutely no pressure to buy. We typically book a follow-up call afterwards. However, if you're at the point where you're like, I need this and I want to go in, you can give us permission. We'll give you a storming offer to get you signed up on the call. I'm leaving everything open, and then it's your decision whether you want me to present an offer that will get you to pay on that call. And I'm talking typically an average sale of about £6,000-7,000, which is about $8,000. Finding technical difficulties. This is one thing that we send out an hour and 15 minutes. So 2 messages just before the call starts with 2 buttons that say, I'm running a little bit late. I'm having tech problems. If somebody says they're having tech problems, we can jump on it before the call starts. A lot of no-shows that I've seen in businesses have been where they're like, oh, the link isn't working. Oh, I won't bother. I've got other things to do anyway. The example I give in the UK is sometimes a little bit difficult to translate over here, because your cars typically are all automatic. Whereas in the UK, for us, most of our cars is what you would call a stick shift. We would call a manual. The amount of time your car spends in that first gear is all of this stuff. The time is actually quite small compared to most of your journey. But if you don't start in that gear, it's really tough to get off the ground. In automatics, you don't really see it as much. But if you try and start a stick shift in third, unless you're pointing down a hill and you can get some speed, you're screwed. And what I think a lot of businesses do when they don't approach their prospects as people that don't care about them is they try and start in third. And advising of any in-person or online peculiarities. So if you use a bit of software that they might not have used before, explaining to them, you need to download this or do this. I'm an advocate for making it easy, but if people are doing in-person meetings or if any of your clients are doing in-person, something before the meeting saying, just to let you know, parking's a bit of a nightmare. So when you turn up, follow the signs to this, and there's a multi-story and you're sorted. That's the level of service and those little touch points that is the customer experience. That is the restaurant you go back to all the time because you want to go there, not just because of the food. An abandoned cart and customer reactivation. Now, we typically focus our business on service-led, but you've got the ability to send abandoned cart messages with their product information pulling through in WhatsApp and give them options on, I didn't buy because of this, this, or this. Get them engaging, start a conversation with people. You want people to be conversing with the business because you want it to be easy for them. Having long-term personalized customer reactivation based on their behavior. This won't be unfamiliar in terms of how you're delivering it on email, but sending an email that's open 26% of the time versus a video on WhatsApp from their favorite brand going, hi, Chris here. Notice that you haven't checked out yet. We want to make sure there aren't any technical problems. Which of the options below is best? I was having tech problems. I decided against it or actually need some help. Your conversion rate from abandoned cart goes through the roof. So conversation starting messaging. And then what I call the 4 R's, reviews, recommendations, referrals, and either repeat business or renewals or returning customers, depending on how your business is laid out. They are so crucial to the long-term success. Lisa did a great job earlier of saying you can't scale without some systems and automation. I have systems. And the additional use cases that I'll cover really quickly, client onboarding. My entire client onboarding process is an entire chat on WhatsApp. So when you sign with me, I send you over and you book in your onboarding call. The first message is, thank you so much. Below, there's a button that says account information. They press it. I go, fantastic. What is the email address you want to use on your sub account? It's this. Brilliant. That pulls through into a custom field. It fills it out for me. All of their answers in the WhatsApp chat fill out a custom field the same way if you sent them a form. And they're conversing back and forth. And I can tell you now, before a sales call, it's a hell of a lot easier to get somebody to answer questions in a WhatsApp chat than it is sending them over a form with 8 fields that they fill in. About 60 to 70% of our sales calls will answer 9 questions before they get on the call itself, including, when it comes to investing in this, who needs to be the decision maker and how do you want to be sold to? That's a legitimate question I ask. And everybody's answered it that started the questions. Regular newsletters and mailings. Again, I want to send it out to A, people that open it, B, that people that are engaging with it and it's easy for them to take the next step, but C, I want them to see my face. I want them to hear my voice. I want them to hear the tips I'm delivering, not just hope that one evening they're going through and reading this value-based email that I'm setting. And by the way, I'm not being a hypocrite here. We send out an email every 2 days to our database. We do the value email side of it. There is value there. But I can tell you now, when I launched my book, I sent an email in the morning to the priority list and the book started creeping up the charts. I sent the WhatsApp that was due to go at midday and within an hour I was bestseller in 4 categories. WhatsApp just hits. Quiz funnels. I kind of talked about that where you can have actual conversations and qualify people in and out through WhatsApp. Order confirmations, upsells. One thing I haven't experimented with, but I think I was talking to you about this happening, was one of the actions in a workflow is a one-time Stripe charge. So if I get people coming in for a paid course, I have their card details tokenized. I can have their WhatsApp responses, and I would have to confirm with them, but they could go through a button series on WhatsApp and that charged their card automatically without them ever leaving the chat. It's my next task for the team. I've already told them they're not looking forward to it. Launches, priority lists. I touched on this for the book. and then proposal delivery. Now, when we have sales calls, we will send over the full proposal via WhatsApp, and then I can see when they're opening the proposal, clicking on it, responding to it, and they have a direct point of contact to ask questions, because conversations lead to conversions. That is everything for me. Thank you very much.
All right. Chris, great work, man.